calls, but I'm getting the sense you're not going this time.
I will not be at the video summit.
Okay.
But thank you for asking. I'll be for you from here.
Cheer us on.
Yeah, please.
Well, you guys, welcome. I'm sure we'll get some more people popping in soon, but let's hear from you. What are we celebrating today? Yes, Lisa.
So, some things take a long time. Some things don't take a long time, but in the category of some things take a long time, the person who came up to me after one of my talks, they told me they weren't ready to hire, but I helped them anyway, came back to me and said the thing they had done with my input was very successful and they want to engage me this coming year. So I think, I was conflicted, Martha, about my comment to you about gifts last time, because I thought what you offer is good enough by itself. You don't need to add little twizzles and bonuses to it. But this was a client who I felt like if I helped them be successful, then that would lead to engagement later. So they said they want to engage me, so we'll see how it goes.
Phenomenal. Awesome work. And that's why sometimes it's so challenging to see, results come in straight away and you're in this program and you're doing everything and you're doing and doing and doing. And sometimes some of these things just take time.
It really makes me think about how many seeds you have to plant in order to get the sprouts down the road, and that you really can't stop with the marketing because something you do today, maybe next year starts to sprout, right? And so if you think, oh, I've got enough clients, I don't need any more work right now, but it's that future work that you're sowing. So I'm learning that.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Michael? Yeah.
Add to that, two quickie things. Number one, just what you just said, you guys, please don't ever take your foot off the marketing gas pedal. Stephanie, I know will attest to this, but between us, we've probably been coaching for 25 years. And the thing that I hear more often than anything is that it's so hard to continue to do the marketing even when you're busy, because at some point you're not going to be busy and you're going to need to have done that. And so, you might ebb and flow a little bit, but please don't ever think it stops. And then the other quickie thing, just Lisa, to your comment about adding bells and whistles, because perhaps we think we're not worth our fee, and giving and serving people are two different things, right? So we always want to be serving and giving and helping people, whether we're getting paid or not. I mean, giving value. And in your case, that was an example of how it turned into a client. Good job.
I was, while you guys are thinking of your celebrations to share, I was just thinking about this the other day. If you guys know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he's like a marketing guy, small business, but he wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the concept is like a boxing, not that I know much about boxing, but the idea is that you give as your jabs, and then I guess it's this hand, and then the right hook is kind of the ask. But it's that ratio of you're giving a lot more than you're asking. And that's just what it reminded me of, Lisa. And so whether you do a 3-to-1 ratio or not, that's not the point. The point is just that, and his book was a lot more about social media. So your social media posts are give, ask sort of thing. But I think it applies here in the follow-up process, for example, you're giving really interesting stuff, you're being an expert, you're showing up just in time, just when they need you, and then you can ask sometimes. Mm-hmm. Who else has something to share that they're celebrating? John, and then Sophia.
So first of all, I had a great coaching call with Sarah yesterday. Really enjoyed the laser focus. We're working on some copywriting right now, and that keeps the ball moving. I'm finding that this whole laser focus as far as my target market is giving me much greater direction, and just looking forward to going down that path for a while. And it's just easier to have one path than 6 or whatever.
Yep. Yep, that is very true.
Yeah.
Good point, John. I'm so glad to hear it. And just John, just to follow up from our call, the MMAs, you're going?
Yep, I sent 6 emails out yesterday. I intend to do 6 to 10 today and tomorrow as well. All
Phenomenal.
kind of, Michael, what you said, pick 10 and go. And that's what I'm doing. So I got 6 out yesterday, and I have 5 more in my queue that are phone calls I want to make, and start trying to do some interviews with those people to start building some of those relationships too.
Boom.
Super. So good. So
Done
good. Thanks,
in action.
John. I know we have our MMA segment a little bit later, but I just wanted to follow up while you were volunteering. All right, Sophia, and then we'll go to Leslie.
Okay, I just want to say thank you. Look what came in the mail yesterday.
Yay.
Yay! And, yeah, good. Gratitude. I'll tell you, this is one of the, there are several things I appreciate about this program. I've spent more for programs, and I've never felt the same connection. Don't raise your rates, by the way. But I've never felt the connection. I've never gotten these things in the mail. You sent us the journal at the beginning. I have one thing. They said, oh, by the way, buy our book, after I'd given them a chunk of change, and I'm going, you can't give me a book that costs you whatever. And you just consistently, the coaching, this present, how sweet is that? So celebrate you. How's that for a celebration? I really do appreciate these touches. And so thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sophia. Well, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. Hopefully they're useful. We think very hard about like the journal and stuff like that. So glad to hear it.
Yeah.
The book really is phenomenal, guys. I have my copy, because I'm in Canada, isn't coming for like another week and a half, but but I have the digital version, and it's awesome. So use it.
Yes. Thank you.
Leslie. You just unmute, Leslie.
Okay,
There
now?
you go. Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure if I said this on Tuesdays or I told Michael yesterday, but I switched to addiction and codependency. And then I reached out to CODA, which is the codependent.
Can you just talk a little louder, Leslie? It's a bit fuzzy.
Sure. Okay. I have new headphones on, maybe that's why. Is that better?
For now, yeah.
Really? Okay, I'll yell. So,
Okay.
But anyhow, so I reached out just like a blind cold call and spoke to the head of the regional area, and he's all excited. Things look good. He talked about being ambassador, delegates here. I don't know. I said things are good, but ironically, when I made that decision to tone down, nursing's coming back in. So I just say no, right? And the nursing now, is that what you? Yes.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a loaded question, Leslie. I don't want
to get sidetracked again onto the.
Yeah, I mean, I would talk to Sarah about that more specifically. But what's cool is that sometimes I'll riff off it a little bit. If you guys have read Gay Hendricks' book, The Upper Limit, that's not what it's called. It's called The Big Leap. But he talks about your upper limit problem, and it's funny. So I don't know if this is what's happening to you or not, Leslie, but as you up-level your business, you're just faced with challenges, right? That are trying to keep you from getting to that next level. So you're just hitting that next level, and then like challenge. And it's your upper limit is trying to keep you down that from that ceiling. And so if an opportunity like nursing, for example, again, whether this is relevant or not for you, I'm not sure, but
I just thought it was fun.
Yeah, but but that can show up, and it could be an opportunity, maybe, or it could be a way to try and like keep you from that next level that you're about to hit. So it could be a distraction. So
it's saying no to good and yes to better, basically.
Exactly. There you go. I
Okay,
love
cool.
that phrase. Mhm.
Thank you.
Anything
That-
else? You're welcome.
Uh,
Anyone else want to share? Patricia?
I've got I've got my first meeting coming up with Sarah scheduled for next week. And when Sophia was talking about the workbook and things like that, I've received nothing yet.
Oh, okay. I will jot that down. Or actually, Morgan, maybe you can jot that down and have a quick look at it. 'Cause
Yeah, Patricia, I'll double check the Amazon, what's it called? It tells you when it was delivered. So I'll screenshot that and share it to you and let you know if there was any issues with that. I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, thanks.
was there anything else, Patricia? Any other celebrations you want to share?
It's not exactly with the speaker's formula, but there's a book coming out February 4th is the launch date. It's called Cured. And one chapter in there is 23 pages long and 17 pages are devoted to me, mentioning me by name.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Wow.
That's
Awesome.
The author is Dr. Jeffrey Rediger from Harvard.
Super. I love that. That's amazing. Well, we have a lot of questions today, so why don't we jump into our queue because there's quite a bit to cover.
Yeah, so we'll start with Amy. So Amy's working on the name we use to present ourselves. We have for years been, so everybody listen, this is a bit lengthy, but it'll lay the foundation for helping Amy with her company name or program name. We have been for years Finest City Improv for Business. We are trying to use TAP into improv, Team Alignment Playbook, or Talent Alignment Playbook, or Talent Alignment and Performance. Clients don't use the word alignment, but it makes for a catchy title. Also, it makes us unique. I like that. Also, it makes us unique to keep improv in the name, but also is not about our clients, it's about us. If we are renaming it about getting speaking gigs and consulting coaching, or to grab people's attention related to their pain, is renaming necessary and valuable? I'm in the soup. Okay, first, Amy, what are you naming? Your company? Is this a program? What exactly are you renaming? Thinking about renaming?
Okay, so the company is Finest City, Finest City Improv. And we've been around for about 8 years. And we have a theater, and we have a training center, and then we have a corporate program. And that corporate program, we just call Finest City Improv for Business. And on our website, there's, the third thing says for businesses. So that's just been the name of it. But going through the modules and going through this, like if we were to start from scratch, I certainly wouldn't call this whole division Finest City Improv for Business, because according to the program's recommendations, I should call it something like Tap Into Your Team or something like that, which is what the whole program is about, is communication, collaboration, team building programs, leadership programs. So, and I've even tried, like with my Vistage group, we went through this process a few years ago, trying to figure out how to make it more effective, that people aren't just looking at us and going, am I hiring an improv company, or am I hiring a expert in team building, etc. So we did a pilot where we called it Spotlight, and it was like a spotlight on your team, and we thought that, and it didn't really work. People just were like, call Finest City Improv. So it's like we couldn't get away from the fact that we were Finest City Improv. So we did that again with this program, but yet it's still just not, we haven't changed our website to say Tap Into Improv, because again, I don't know. So I don't know if this is necessary, if we should just call that Finest City Improv for Business has lots of programs, and one of them is called the Tap Into Teamwork or something like that. Or if I should just make a brand new website, pull it out from under Finest City Improv, and make it its own thing that's run by Finest City Improv. Does that help?
Yeah. And this is a big, Martha, did you raise your hand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just have something to say about that, because I've come up against a similar situation in my voice coaching business. I've always been Martha Gleason Voice, and my website is very much directed that way. But now that I'm doing public speaking work and presentation skills in the corporate space, what I decided to do, Amy, rather than rework my whole website, which is beautiful and works well, is I just have a separate page for my public speaking and presentation skills for corporations. And then the titles of my talks and presentation workshops and seminars are very targeted to that. For instance, Smart Women Speak Smart. So, and I also know of a local theater company here in Portsmouth that does, is a well-established, long-standing theater company, just like it sounds your improv company is. They made a separate division for their business called Theater for Life. And it's all about using theater skills in business settings to help, and schools, to help people do exactly what you're trying to do, team building and such. So they have sort of a separate division, but and
that's what we have.
Yeah, I don't think it's a separate website. I think it's a separate page they use.
Yeah, so we have a whole separate, we have a subdomain on our website and a whole separate division. And the gold standard is Second City, and Second City has an entire division called Second City Works. So it's like a great little, and we tried Finest City Improv at Work. I just feel like, are we going far enough? Because like then we put on our email signatures and it still says Finest City Improv for Business, and here's our programs kind of thing. So I think it could go either way. I'm wondering what's resonating with Michael and Stephanie in this group.
Well, the first thing I want to ask, just Amy, do you have a problem here? Like, is this a problem that you're running into, or are you making it into something that it's not? I just want to ask kind of a.
That's very possible. I think our problem is we want to get more traction. We want to get more traction, getting out there and being known not just as improvisers. They can come do fun team building. And it's always been the biggest hurdle to get over. So if renaming things makes that easier, then we should do it.
Well, so this is not, I'm not discounting your question, but my reason for asking is I would think a lot of other things are more important as to getting traction than what you name something. The action you're taking, the work you're doing, are you getting out there? What are you doing? It's a rhetorical question. So I just want to be sure, because I don't know this is something we're going to solve today, although we'll give you our input. I mean, I personally, you've worked very hard at developing the Finest City Improv brand and recognition. So I would work hard to keep that and not move away. Okay. That would be my quick immediate. But I also wouldn't want you to creating something just because the module says you need to do it. It may or may not be important at this time. I think there might be other things that are more important. Just quickie feedback.
Okay.
The next thing I would just say is, this is why I kind of chuckled. If your clients aren't looking and wanting alignment, then I would not use that, even though it's catchy. If they are, great, but really dive into that. I'll pause there for now. I want to actually reread your question, but in the meantime, perhaps Stephanie or somebody has further feedback.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear your input, Michael and Martha, as well, because Amy and I have kind of been, we haven't tackled this question specifically, but it's been coming up, and so you have an opportunity, I guess. Let's imagine you kept the business exactly how it is. You have an opportunity to, at this point, anyone new that you're contacting, you can make your first impression be whatever you want it to be. So even if the company's name is Finest City Improv, you can still make your first impression with something else, right? It can be your name, it could be whatever, the tap. You can send them to your LinkedIn profile, for example, instead of a website, or you can have a small landing page or something that doesn't send them to your main website if it's a new connection. And then even if the second thing they see is Finest City Improv, at least your first impression with them would have been this other thing, right? So you can maybe without completely rebranding your business, maybe you can just craft what that initial impression is. Maybe it's as simple as an email signature, it being that first impression. And then the second impression, yeah, okay, it's part of my Find a City Improv website. Sorry, it is Find a City. Am I saying that wrong? No, it is. Okay. I had it in my head, the other one you were just saying, and then I got confused. So maybe that could bridge the gap in the meantime. I don't know how that sounds to you.
No, that sounds fantastic. That's kind of what I've been doing. And I just was I was looking at my priorities and saying, is this one thing that I could just knock off and get better traction? Because when I think about the one, like we talked about yesterday, Stephanie, where I'm thinking about more speaking coaching, and like if I was to start up a fresh thing, I would call it something like ideas to action, right? Or ditch the script. And like that, it's emotional, it grabs you, it's into you now, and compared to like, Find a City Improv for Business. So it's like, I just love to say things, like, so it's a branding thing.
Okay.
But I think I can try to make that happen on a page. And what we'll do is like Sean's email, my emails that are to specific people for the programs, will lead with the program name and the landing page for that is what I'm making the decision on.
So I talked to David about this a while back. We were redoing all the modules, and I said, like, do we need to keep in this branding module? Like, I don't know, are people using it? And we kind of talked about it, and he said, look, you don't want to keep the old stuff if it's not working. Like he was like, this is the next level. This is new. This is, you are this new thing now with all of these strategies and speaking, and you're bringing yourself to the next level. You don't want to drag things into the next level. So
yeah, that's what it feels like right now. Like I'm dragging it along. Yeah.
So that said, it doesn't mean during your time in this program, you have to completely redo everything. So, but there is something to be said for like, if you want to be known for this new thing, then no, you don't have to drag on the old thing. But I love what Michael said too, though, about your reputation has been built on that. So it's not an answer, but that's just some different perspectives that maybe give you some context. Yeah.
Well, the discussion was very helpful for helping me think through it. Thank you.
You are welcome. Did we answer all the pieces of that? There was a lot going on. And then Lisa, yeah.
So quickly, it got me thinking about sort of subtitles of things. I mean, I can imagine talking to a client and saying, we have several programs that I think you might be interested in. One is blah, blah. And you sort of sub-brand offerings so that there's some consistency in the way you present them to clients. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I've been thinking about that for business, Amy, which is, I've got my company name, but then I might have some titles of some programs that I offer to clients, and they may be more interested in that than the overarching company name.
Absolutely. And like I can imagine, like if my company name was just like Amy Liseski, this is what I think listening to you, Lisa, helps me think what I'm trying to decide is, does Find a City Improv, that name, carry too much baggage that might actually work against me in some of the corporate world stuff, rather than help me? So that's what so thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah, it makes me think of the giant conglomerate corporations and stuff as well, right? Like they have a parent company, but like you go to the, I don't know, L'Oreal website, it's L'Oreal. You go to the, I don't know who's subsidiary of who, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that's helpful too. There's so many different ways you can approach it, Amy. So
thank you.
Okay, so Marcia, your first question for today: how do you know if associations want an educational or inspirational speaker? Give me a little bit of context for this question, please.
So on websites for associations, you'll see the keynote speaker. Sometimes the topic is more inspirational, motivational. Sometimes it's educational. And then the breakout sessions are usually educational.
The breakout sessions are usually what?
Educational, informational, less motivational.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple things here, and Michael, feel free to chime in if I miss something. But a couple of things. First of all, there are different. There's always a problem that the association is trying to solve by hiring you. And it's not the same as a corporation, right? An association isn't worried about turnover or retention or whatever. Or, I mean, they might be in different ways, but they're usually trying to solve a problem as it relates to their members. So they want more registrants, they want more attendees, they want better reviews, more referrals. Like there are reasons that the association hires different speakers. So when you're talking about the, inspirational speaker, for example, probably, without knowing the specifics of every example, probably they're trying to solve the problem of butts in seats. So they might hire someone famous, someone with a reputable name, someone that their members recognize the name of, so that they say, okay, I have to go to this event because so-and-so Hillary Clinton is speaking there. I don't know. So that might be an extreme example. So the problem that they're solving by hiring an inspirational speaker is filling butts in seats. The educational speakers could have that spin as well. So they could be hiring an educational speaker who has a certain topic that's really compelling to their members. Again, they're solving the problem of butts and seats, or they could be solving the problem of like retaining their members. So their members need to have a constant supply of really good information that they're able to use and bring back to their companies and whatever. So they need to have a mix of educational things that are improving. Like the reason that they're part of the association is to learn stuff, let's say, and so you need speakers like that. Another reason would be, networking and referrals and all of that. So I don't think that there's necessarily an answer to educational versus inspirational. I think you have to look at the problem that the association is trying to solve, if that makes sense.
So how would I find the problem that the association is trying to solve, and how would I position myself as the solution with my message?
Well, so I think for one, we know that those are some of the problems that they're trying to solve, right? So if no one's ever heard of you, then you're not going to go in and say like, well, I can, put my name out there and I'll fill the room. The pitch that you're going to bring to the association is, this topic is super important. It will fill the room because your members need it and they want it. They're asking for it. Your members are asking for it over and over. So that's part of the AIR conversations. You need to know what their members are asking for. And I know this does kind of tie into your second question as well. But I would say like probably you're not in the inspirational camp if if your name isn't going to draw a crowd. You're probably in the educational camp where your topic is going to draw the crowd and get good reviews and rave reviews and that sort of thing.
I'll just add that. How do you know if an association's want an educational inspirational speaker? They, along with what Stephanie said, but just to put it bluntly, they're looking for educational. They're not, unless you're a keynote. Sure, your talk needs to have some inspiration to it, but it needs to be educating and teaching the members something. That's what they.
So that's what I thought, based off of when it says we want people with different perspectives, right? Some of the sites will say that when they're pitching their annual conferences. I'm looking at it has that element to it, right? Somebody that brings a different perspective for the panel, maybe, or the moderator, right? The speech, whatever. Which makes sense, but how does that tie into chapter meetings, which is what we were all talking about the other day?
So chapter meetings are looking, like simply put, again, education. They're looking for. We're being simplistic now, but they're looking for you to teach their audience something that their audience needs and wants. And to the extent you can do that in an inspirational way, that's awesome. But they're not looking to just be inspired. They're looking for you to teach them something.
Right. So how do I message and position myself to be the solution to teaching them whatever it is they need to know?
Well, that's a much bigger question. I think
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, that's a $1
Isn't-
million question, right?
Yeah, well,
for-
isn't that, I'm sorry, isn't that
Okay.
what the material is teaching you to do?
Yeah, but I haven't got that clarity, which is why I keep asking. Like, I think my questions are all going back to the same thing, right? Message. If an organization says we want more diverse attendees at our conference, right, which is I saw associations say that, and I reach out to them, and then their response to me is, well, we only pick speakers in our referral network. That doesn't really help.
Okay, so then that, Steph, I'll let you kind of guide us. That goes to, I think, the second question.
Well, just the thing I was thinking of, Marcia, as far as knowing, so let's say you're going after Association A and you want to know what kind of education they like to bring to their members and what what their members are asking for. That might be where you would look at any publications that they have, blog posts. You might go on LinkedIn and see what kind of things they're sharing. They maybe have a group or something like that. And then you should be able to kind of see through that, maybe some trends, and then you would say to them, okay, hey, I see you guys are talking a lot about this topic. It fits really well in with what I do. I have a talk that would be perfect for your members. It's clearly something that they're looking for. So perhaps there are some indicators that the association is putting out externally that would be a symbol for that. If they never, ever, ever talk about diversity, for example, and they're always talking about, workplace happiness or satisfaction or something, then it may not be a fit. But if they are talking a lot about diversity or they're talking about things that are in a periphery of that, then maybe you have a better fit.
So I think the answer for me at this point is more about me working on my craft and my message and my titles and what I'm offering, because I think I pretty much have mastered the outreach and, the pulling together what they want and what they're looking for.
That's what I was, between the email that you sent earlier, Steph, the question I'm hearing Marcia ask now, the thought that I want to share is along what you just said, Marcia. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've done the research. Stop asking what associations want or need. You know what you deliver, and find the associations that are looking for that. You've got it flipped. You're going, it sounds to me like you're going to associations saying, what do you need? And I might be speaking metaphorically. And then you're trying to craft your message to what they need. No, you speak on, you deliver X. Reach out to associations, say, this is what I have, and I think your group could benefit from this. Would you bring me in? Does that at all help you? Or does that at all help?
I mean, yes, that's the answer, right? I mean, if I have the solution or the presentation or whatever, right, which is what I kept saying, the template to say, I like to ask you questions is different from, like you said, I already have something for you. And based on what I've looked at, I know that it would help them, right? Then I just go that way. So I've been working on it.
Yes, this ties to last Tuesday's conversation, I think, with John about, there's just, to make sure you guys we're all on the same boat here. AIR conversations are to gather information. What is it? Advice, insights, and recommendations, right? So you gather your information, you create your brand, your who, what, and how. This is what I do. This is who I do it for. This is how I do it. And then, yeah, you can continue with AIR conversations, but then you're kind of done. Now go start selling it. And I'm not just speaking to Marcia, you guys, and forgive me, I don't want this to come off as a wise guy, just more firm coaching for you all. Stop asking for feedback. You be strong and powerful in what you deliver and go sell it. And don't try to tweak what you have to fit for them. It's like walking into a McDonald's. They have their menu, period. You either eat it or you go somewhere else. Like, they're not trying to sell their menu to fit some walk-in who wants something not on their menu. They're like, this is what we have. Eat it or go somewhere else. I'm kind of being blunt again, but to this extent you guys can have that kind of posture, reach out to associations. Those that want it will want it, and those that won't. Move on. Go to the next one. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Amy.
Amy?
Yeah, I think that's really helpful to hear. I mean, I'm in my last week of the program, and I think there's just, I guess maybe the way the course is set up, there's such an emphasis on the air conversation, and it's a new way of thinking for us. And so we did spend a lot of time, you know, we're using that technique, and I still think it's a great way. Like if you really want to get to somebody, it's kind of like the article reach out, like, hey, I'm interviewing experts on this. So it's a way to make a connection. But I do think in my head too, I was just like, it was hard, like when does this like just go into the sales kind of thing. So that's good to hear, Michael, and for anybody who's just starting out, like keep an eye on that, because I think I've been tied up in that a lot too. Like that's been like, there was such a heavy emphasis on it in the beginning.
I think that's it. I think that's the answer, right? Like I'm trying to figure out how do I reach out to people to deliver what I have. That's probably what it is. And so when I listened to all the different things, right, it's like all jumbled up. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I have it. These are just the methods and the strategies, right? The money-making activities to get to that end result.
And then in addition too, I think there's still use in that we have to make sure that we know what our signature program is, but really also listen, because there's going to be opportunities where they're going to tell us more so we can go deeper and make more money off of just a speaking or a one-time engagement. Because if we don't still listen and say, oh, we could do that, even though it wasn't exactly on our what we've defined, we'll miss those opportunities.
Yeah, that's good, and thank you for saying that, because I don't mean to say what you deliver is so rigid that it's literally like take it or leave it. There's some massage, etc. But yeah, very good.
Marcia, does that answer the second part of your question as well? I can't remember if there was another piece to it, because we might as well go into it.
That's it. Just take what I have and make it fit.
Yeah, and if you know, we need to, like, the air conversations are amazing for crafting the positioning, right? So you have an air conversation, they tell you what they want, and you already have your program. You're just trying to figure out what pattern wrapping paper to put on it, right? Exactly. And that's what the air conversations are doing. It's not so much that we're changing the offering, it's we're changing the wrapping based on what people are telling you they want. And like Amy said, once it starts working, like once you're getting traction with that, then and like Michael said, you don't have to keep asking for that advice, insight, and recommendations. There are lots of other strategies for that. Leslie, and then Sean, you have your.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, piggyback on that.
Sorry, I'm just going to go to Leslie. Yeah, I'm just going to go to Leslie first. She had her. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, Michael, I was just going to like not make you the bad guy. And just from my experience, I've taken a lot of courses, and the asking other people like almost permission to do it because they're not confident in what you're doing, like that got me into so much trouble and took me off course so many times. And I just did it again with the nursing, right? When I asked, like, okay, I say no to this, like trusting, I guess, just trusting yourself enough to know what you offer and being comfortable saying, nope, this one's like, the people who need you will listen, and those who don't get it. I just wanted to not make you the hard guy there, like you were.
Yeah, no, thank you, and I'm okay being it, but thank you.
Yeah.
That happened yesterday too. You and I were talking, and you said something like, "Yeah, everybody I ask gives me different advice." I said, "Stop freaking asking then."
Stop asking, yeah.
Asking. You got.
Yeah, I mean and that's it. And even if you're switching, like for me, it's total shift in careers, but still, like my gut knows what I'm good at and what I'm not. And I just got to find the people who need what I'm good at.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And I love this. SW cubed. Everybody write that down. SW to the fourth power, so to speak. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. There you go.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
Sean, what were you going to say?
Oh, thanks. What I was just going to say is I think jumping into this late, I think I was overwhelmed by trying to follow to a T, every step, every template, everything. Coming from a more of a corporate perspective in sales and marketing, business development, the way I envision this program, correct me if I'm wrong, is that this is for the entrepreneurs that need an entire sales and marketing division within themselves, basically. Here it is in a nutshell. We figured out how to sell speaking. This is what's worked for us. Try to stick to this as much as possible, but you're gonna have to improvise and do your thing and step up and go outside those rails and take action when needed. You don't have to stick to, oh, okay, I did this and now I got to do a second email. I think you can get caught up in stressing about all that stuff. And it seems to me that it's a great framework to work from. And once you do it over and over for a while, this will all be just common sense. Like you'll be doing the entire formula, but you won't even be thinking about it. It's just what you do naturally. Right, Michael? Am I in the right path?
Yeah, well, beautiful. Yep, beautiful.
And like, we never want you to do stuff that isn't working. So we love it when you try what we've suggested, as opposed to just like, okay, here are these 8 things, but I'm going to go do this 9th thing and ignore the 8 things that we told you to do. But when you're going through the 8 things and you're sending, we don't want you to just send 100 emails, get 0 response, and then like send 100 more. We want you to like try it. Does it work? And then go from there. Eric and I were talking earlier about elevator pitch, and it was like, is this broken? No, you're getting great responses. Okay, so don't fix it. Just like we asked Amy, is it broken? If it's broken, then let's fix it. But if it's not broken, let's keep doing it. So it's an iterative process, constantly, for sure. Yes, Lisa?
And I just want to say to Marcia that, I'm trying a lot of different things to get in front of people, some of which include submitting abstracts to meetings and then getting accepted and doing it that way. That is actually leading me to some clients. It's a little bit of a torturous path, but I have kind of an academic medical background, and that is a comfort place for me. With your topic, it might be an entry place for you also, without having to do the cold calling. Is a different sort of process.
Mm-hmm. Any follow-ups, Marcia, before we move on? Anything that's coming up for you?
Like we said, earlier to what Lisa was saying, speaking at conferences and breakout sessions, that kind of leads me into a room of, 50, 60 people I've never met before and I've never heard my message before, and just having that backup, that next steps for them to join the tribe.
Yeah, and John's question, the next question here that I'm going to ping back to Michael, because it's for him, will be really helpful for you, Marcia. We were talking about speaking for free. So I think you'll get a lot from this one too.
Okay, thank you.
All right, John asked Michael, the other day on the call, you talked about speaking for free, but that led to making a lot of money. What selling techniques do you use during or after, excuse me, a no-fee speech that leads to paid bookings? Well, first, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Is anybody not sick? Who's not sick? Congratulations. I'm still suffering a bit, and I know a lot of people are. I'm sorry. The good news is, I believe that the offer, not I believe, my experience is the offer you make from the podium can be the same whether it's a free talk or a fee talk. John, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, you have not watched the training that I did on selling from the podium. Is that correct or not?
No, where do I find that? Is that on the
Morgan will repost it in the chat, but we
Okay.
did a little bonus training on offering, we call it selling from the podium, but it's not really selling. It's making an offer for a consultation. So that answers your question about what selling techniques do you use during the
Maybe you can give them just like a high level couple keys from that.
Yeah,
Michael.
okay, sure.
I think
Thanks,
that would be
Steph.
helpful.
Yeah, so basically in the training, I walked you all through a 6-step process: gaining attention, establishing credibility, giving value, establishing need, making an offer. But the big thing is establishing need. So during your talk, through your teaching, through your stories, you're helping your audience feel the goodness of what it would be like to do to accomplish that what you're speaking about, right? So if you're speaking on being a better leader, you want to help the audience literally feel what it would be like to be a great leader and all the benefits that go along with that. You also want to paint the picture and help them feel the pain of not achieving it, of being a bad leader, of not having the impact that you can if you were to be a great leader. The gap between that pleasure and pain, this is classic Tony Robbins, but he didn't invent it, is need. The more they feel those two extreme emotions, the more they feel the need to want to work with you further, for you to help solve their problem. So if they're feeling those feelings, geez, I'm using John as you're speaking, and they're like, damn, this guy's got it. I really need this. And then all of a sudden, quote, all of a sudden, you're saying to them, hey, for those of you that would like more information on how to work with me, I'd love to offer you a complimentary consultation. Boom, they sign up. And so then you have a one-on-one conversation with them, and then that's a whole sales process there. But the good news, it's the same 6 steps, right? That you work with a one-on-one. You help walk the prospect through in a one-on-one way, and then you make your offer as to whatever it is offering them: coaching, consulting, further training. So there you go. That's kind of it.
Okay.
Any follow-up needed, or questions or comments?
No comments. I've done a couple other things where it's just set up right from the very beginning that, at some point I am going to make an offer. So it's not like this sleazy thing that comes at the end, real salesy. Try to build that in all the way through so that when I get to that point, it just is a natural progression. And this question is also coming too. Like I took a thing to speak at a Rotary Club, which is for free, but with the idea that there's people sitting in that audience who are connected to my target market. So it was not only the opportunity to have more stage time, but with the idea that there's people sitting there based on what you were talking about the other day.
Perfect. There you go. I mean, in the training, I even go over the statistics. I mean, I've done, so many of these and taught people how to do it for years. So we're confident in the statistics. And, you'll see in the program, it's all laid out. This is how many clients you'll get. It's basically 6 to 7% of the room will become a quote client or paying for something further. I'm not talking about a book sale, a $20 book. Mm-hmm. That's much higher. We're talking for the bigger contracts. And 6% doesn't sound like a lot of money. However, you put 50 people in a room and 6% is 3. And if your average fee per client is $10,000, then you generated 30 grand from a quote free talk to just 50 people. That's how the numbers begin to add up quickly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a big difference between what Michael's talking about now and a presentation that's all pitch. And that's for sure not what we're talking about. We do not want you to get hired to speak and then you stand up for 10 minutes of content and 50 minutes of pitch, right? This is like you are being genuine, you're teaching something valuable, And at the end, it's short because you've kind of been seeding it throughout. It's just like, hey, if you guys want more of this, like let's talk, let's have a consultation.
Well, beautifully said. And you're seeding throughout without, it's not the seeding like planting seeds. Like, yeah, at the end, I'm going to be giving you an offer. It's, you're not even bringing it up. It's all through emotion and teaching and training. And it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Well said. You're giving. You're leaving it all out there. You're giving them all you got. And then the quote offer is like, 2 minutes, and it's not even selling. It's just an opportunity to meet with you further.
Yeah. Leslie, then Lisa, then we'll move on. Oh, Leslie, are you there?
You're on.
There you
Yeah,
are.
sorry about that. Okay, so like you were talking, Michael, and you and I were talking the other day, that the initial product I have, the conversation, is more or less probably a one-off, right? Maybe 2 or 3, but it's not a big ticket item. And I had that validated Tuesday night. But what I could see is that everyone has a conversation, if I did do a retreat, and confidence that if they had funds, they would all go. So do I look at that as the conversation is just kind of like Apple's old little, what do they call them? The old day. You know how Apple grades their products? So is the conversation like my first entry product then that I'm selling with eventual retreats in my mind, not telling them that?
Well, for you, based on what I learned from you yesterday, if I'm understanding your question, you don't at the current time so much have a big ticket item, which is
correct.
Which is okay, because it's not like you're trying to make $1 million either. It's all relative.
Right.
And so you would have a shorter one-on-one conversation that you offer from the podium that's free, that's complimentary. And then you use and you're being very careful there, Leslie. That's not the
conversation.
Yeah. And so you're selling your what you call your conversation, where people pay you that $500 for it.
Okay. In your opinion, does the fact that there's a smaller price ticket influence what you do for free? I mean, because that's not their, like if you're doing a talk for free, but you're going to generate 10 clients at 10,000 apiece versus doing a talk for free, doing a 10 at 250 apiece, it's still the same thing, right?
Well, that's a great question too. I'm going to just repeat that for everybody, because that's a big question. So Leslie's asking, being that my offer isn't a bigger ticket item, does that influence where I speak or how often I speak for free? I would say it could or it could not. It's
right.
up to you. But I would, generally speaking, sure, it sure does, right?
Yeah.
If you guys are wanting to be making $5,000 and $10,000 and $15,000 for a paid speech, but you're also willing to take on some free ones, then yeah, I would think you would want to be able to generate that kind of money for your free talks.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry. Didn't know I was taking one picture.
Lisa, what were you going to add?
Well, I've had this conversation with Michael before. It's very helpful. So at a talk that's coming up, I had to sort of sign an agreement that there would be no commercial side to what I was doing. They specifically say that. So I wouldn't want to break that agreement by doing something like this. So, but I know the audience is chock full of people. So I guess what I'm going to be doing is just doubling down on 3 things. One, that they think, oh, wow, this is a real problem. Oh, wow, I should be doing something about it. And, oh, wow, I think she could help me. So, because I don't know, I don't want to break that agreement that I had to sign with the conference organizers.
Before you determine that making an offer or a consultation would be breaking the agreement, I would just make sure if you have, and this is, I'm sharing this for everybody too, because believe me, they think, Stephanie nailed this. They think you're going to pitch. It's going to be a pitch fest. When they understand, I'm not pitching anything. I'm delivering a 50-minute worth of content. And then at the end, I'm going to simply offer, hey, if you want to visit with me further for free, you can do that. Most associations will say, oh, okay, if that's what you're doing, that's fine. Not all. They'll say, nope, you can't do that, but it couldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, good advice. Thank you.
So Lisa, in your case, you can even position it to their benefit to have people meet with you. So saying like, hey guys, after a talk like this, you are going to get bombarded with people wanting my contact information because this is so powerful and they all need it. So what can we do to, help you out here? Can I tell them we're going to contact me? Can you agree to send them a little message afterwards? Like you can even position it to their benefit.
That's
somehow.
good. I like that. You're going to get bombarded. You don't want to have to go through all that hell. Let me take it off your shoulders. That's good.
Positive thinking.
Yeah. Marcia, what were you going to add?
Two things I tried. I don't know if you could do this. You can also offer them like a free opt-in on your website. Mm-hmm. That way you could collect their information, or you could have them do like like maybe an exit strategy type concept. What did they learn? What was helpful? Either way, you can get their information.
Yep.
And that does not break the contract.
You're right, Marcia. There's many ways to do it. Yep.
Or like Eric's assessment, like, hey guys, here's a 10-point scale of how well you're doing on pandemic preparedness. Super important. You should go there and do it.
You can, Stephanie, this is a half joke, but I got to do it. You can offer your PowerPoint slides.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
All right, next.
All right, we're going to go on to Martha's question now. I'm setting up Pipedrive. I feel like, Martha, this is like a 4-part question from the past. Like you're like dripping us out these questions. I love it. I'm setting up Pipedrive to create a visual sales process. They also offer automated emails to save time. Would this work given David's strategy of making follow-up emails relevant, strategic, and not monkey spam? What do you think, Martha? What's your gut telling you on this one?
My gut is telling me to keep it simple and not to send out a bunch of automated stuff, because that's what people don't want to see and don't want to read. It's just that when I signed up for Pipedrive last night, I was like, oh, automated emails, and they're getting, they go in so deep with that service that it gets you thinking about, should I be doing that? So my natural inclination as a person who's comfortable with sales relationships with people is that I would keep it to smaller numbers and customize my emails. But I just had to ask that question because I wanted to make sure that the automated email response is not really where I want to go.
Yeah. Sounds like you nailed it, basically. I would say there's a couple scenarios where automated emails might work. For example, hey, we have an appointment coming up. Just wanted to remind you, sometimes those can be automated. If I don't know how Pipedrive deals with that, but that's an example where people expect to get an automated reminder that they have an appointment coming up, and it's okay. They don't feel like it's monkey spam. But
right.
If you're sending exactly, but if you're sending them automated emails like, it was great meeting you blank, and comma in the wrong spot, and
right.
Here's a document that I actually already sent you a week ago because you asked for it, and it can get not good, for sure.
Yeah, it seemed really, it seemed squirrely. And sort of a second piece to this question is there anybody in the group that uses Pipedrive that might be willing to give me a quick tutorial? Because I personally got into major overwhelm just with their little video series last night. And I thought, oh my God, I don't need to go this deep. That's it. It was like they're trying to take me through a, 8 series video tutorial, and I'm like, I don't need all that. I just need to set it up for what I need. So if anybody is familiar with that and could get me started, I'd appreciate it.
Is anyone using Pipedrive?
No.
Of everyone I'm looking at, I can't think of anyone who is. You can ask in the Facebook group. There might be some people there using it. Trying to think if David's done a tutorial. I think Sam might have some tips, possibly.
So would that be done like in a breakout session with her, or how would that work?
She might. I would, if it's okay, I would do what Steph said, post on Facebook, maybe tag her. She's very good at, and she loves doing little video tutorials.
Yeah.
Asynchronous, and so that might be all you need.
Yeah, good point.
Good idea. That's perfect. Thank you.
So Martha, just to follow up on your automated email thing, I would put together a series of templates, and I would put together a series of things that commonly you could send people. Then you could customize them as needed, but you're not reinventing the wheel every time. But I wouldn't just automatically have things get sent.
I like the idea of the templates. That's a great idea. And maybe Pipedrive has some place where you can store your templates or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Sophia?
great.
Yeah.
And Martha, I don't know if Pipedrive offers this, but I know some of these companies, just the customer service, they want to help you and they want to, over the phone, walk you through it. So I don't know if you've tried to give them a call yet, especially, during business hours, but sometimes they're open all night, and, try that also.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because in fact, they had somebody who just reached out to me via email saying he's the Pipedrive.
Use it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Great, you guys. Thanks.
Go figure. A company that actually helps you with their product. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Saving me from the overwhelm, because that was where I was last night. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome. Michelle, you made it just in time for your question.
Perfect.
I did.
Sorry, am I up, Steph? Yeah. Michelle, rather than your question's fairly lengthy, why don't you just verbalize it for the group, and I'll.
Okay. So I have been using the interview strategy this whole week, and I've been getting some responses. And so I had actually reached out to the chair of a coaching association, and they have a conference coming up in the spring. And I also kind of used the same strategy and reached out to the event coordinator. So the chair booked time in my calendar, and no questions asked. And the event coordinator sent me back an email saying, "Oh, we're booked for this year, but we're always happy to see what you have. However, we only have speakers who are in the sports industry," which I'm not. So I'm just wondering how I approach the call that I'm going to have with the chair on Tuesday, because I now know that that's kind of the direction they go in, and how I kind of position what I do, that even though I'm not a sports athlete or star, that I have something that they can use.
Yeah, good. Well, that was nice, the way you asked that concisely, so thank you. So the good news is you have a call. He's not the one that mentioned they only hire sports figures. I think that my quick response is that's great information to have in your hip pocket.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring it up, or just so to start, go about your conversation as if you didn't know that. And see when and if it comes up. Does that make sense? And do you have any concern about doing that?
No, but do I get back to the other person that emailed me back before that or after?
When is your conversation with him?
It's scheduled for Tuesday morning.
Okay. And when did she respond?
The other gentleman responded yesterday.
Oh, so it's both of them are guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Responded Tuesday?
Well, I sent the emails yesterday morning, and both responded yesterday, or no, the day before then, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And basically, to summarize, one pointed out, hey, we're booked. We only hire speakers, maybe sports figures, maybe later. The other one didn't bring any of that up at all and just booked a convo with you.
Yeah, and the thing is, I know that the event manager went and looked at my LinkedIn profile to see what I do, because David's strategy is you don't say what you do, you just say your whole name, your name. You don't even put your website or whatever. So I know he investigated me. The chair, I don't know if he did or didn't. I didn't see that. So he may think, oh, I'm already in the. He has no idea because of the way we word it is. It looks like I'm already a speaker there. So.
Yeah. Okay. So just to kind of just quickly. So number one, my advice would be don't not to say you are, don't fret about this. So with the first person, the person who said we hire sports figures, I would respond with something like, thank you very much for letting me know that. Is there any, would you still be open to speaking with me? I would like to gain insight from you, even though I'm not a sports figure, something like that. Okay. And then in the meantime, you have your call with this person, go into the air conversation as if you would, whether you knew that information or not, and be prepared to respond if he says, oh, I thought you were a sports figure, or you need to be. And the simple response to that is something like you're going to say in the email. It's, no, I'm not. Is that a deal breaker? Are you open to hearing about how I still think you could, I could be of value? And if he says, hey, it's just black and white, this is just who we are, and we're not for somebody like you, then you still might thank them and get insight from them about any leads or ideas they might have for you outside of the association.
Okay, because I know they have a big conference, but they also run workshops throughout the year for sports coaches. And, that might be, I thought, well, that might be an avenue to get in and talk about, using the face as a tool to communicate better with athletes, blah, blah, blah. And it might not, that's not conference material, but it could be that. And I don't know if the event coordinator has anything to do with that. So I didn't want to go there with him, but I could probably go there with the chair. So
that's exactly right. I love the quick feedback is I love that you're open. I love that you're not letting it be a door slammed in your face. You're still, because it's easy for them to say this or this without knowing who you are. The purpose is to get that convo, for them to experience you, for you to learn from them, ask questions, because you never know what's going to come from it.
And part of why I chose this avenue kind of was thanks to you, Michael, in that last time when someone was asking about, well, where do I start? I just Googled coaching associations, and the first one that came up was a sports one, and I thought, oh, I've never thought of this. I can send an email or two, and it may not be in my niche, but I don't know until I start asking questions. So thank you for that.
Yeah, phenomenal attitude. And then for everybody, for Michelle and everybody, just full circle to what we've been talking about at the beginning, it may not be a fit, and that might be it, might be the end of it, right? Our job is not to try to make everything fit. It's in part to reach out, to make connections, and to see. And so it may or may not be, and if it is, great, and if it's not, that's okay too. Well done. Does that answer everything for you?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's why we have lots of irons in the fire and not one or two. Michael, can you just weigh in on Sean's question real quick?
Yeah, on the associations. So nationally, Sean, it's 6 months to a year for their big national conferences. I would say the sweet spot is probably 9 months. So we're on the side of long, 9 to 12 months. Regional would be half that. We're talking 3 to 6. And then the chapter would be even less, up from a month up till 2 or 3 months. Some chapters do book their whole year. at one time, a new program director will take over and say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this for the rest of the year. Let me just hammer them all out. So they can book as far as a year in advance, but more often than not, it's, a month to 3 or 4 months. So in summary, the bigger the conference, the longer, the further out they book. Is that it?
Yep, thank you.
Is that clear?
And
Yep.
I think one of the most helpful things, Michael, you said about this in an earlier one that you just reminded me of is that go and look and see who's the incoming new president, because the year before they're going to be the one, like, get on their radar before they even get to that task. So when they do, they'll just be like, oh, good, I've got somebody already. So that was really helpful.
You already have a relationship. Very good.
Super good. Okay, let's talk about money-making activities, and let's give them an example, Michael, of what we want to hear. So, for example, we would like to hear something like, I emailed 3 CEOs from company A, B, and C to interview them for my article series entitled CEOs with the Best Hair. I don't know. And I followed up with 4 leads that I've already had a call with, and I sent them an interesting article to further my expertise in that area. Things very specific like that we want to hear. Any other strategy you're doing? I emailed 4 people, A, B, C, and D, about air conversations, and 2 about asking for a referral because they have a friend of a friend. This is the kind of stuff we want to hear. Who would like to share what MMAs you have been doing or will be doing in the coming days? Michelle, good. Set a good example for everyone I know.
Well, so far this week, I have sent out 9 requests for interviews. I have 1 booked, and actually 2. So it's 12 requests for interviews. 9 have been to HR recruiters, 2 were to that coaching association. So I followed up with 2 that have made connections of the HR recruiters. Basically, they answered my LinkedIn request but didn't answer my question, so I re-questioned and wrote an article this week and submitted it. So next, going forward, I have now compiled my complete active 20 list, so I'm going to go down to continue within the coaching association niche for next week and go through and do more interview outreaches with them, specifically 5 a day there, and follow up on things I've done this week.
So Michelle, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that when you do this kind of work, you will get clients?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because I realized that just getting the thing is, just getting a response where people actually just automatically book in your calendar is a huge first step, in the sense that, oh my God, it's that easy to get people to book, and then you can have a conversation. And I know we kind of talked about 1 in 25 is going to convert. So if this week I've managed to do 12 to 15, and I still have 2 more days today and tomorrow to work on this, then I'm confident that 1 in 25 is that ratio should pull through. It may take a few weeks to move those conversations along, but as long as I'm doing it at this pace, then I feel like, okay, that result can happen. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that it's going to work. So it takes a while to get that fear of actually doing it, getting going. But now I've got templates and, massage them into my own words a little bit. And now I can just cut and paste those, and it makes the whole process way easier. And then if I send some of these my assistant's way, we could potentially double that. So I'm excited.
My head is exploding.
Yeah, you're exploding,
Stephanie,
Michael, right now.
Michelle, woo! Did you work on that this week in a one-on-one? Freaking A.
No, I just had a mindset shift. I think it was just like, okay, just stop. There was so much fear, and it's
Yeah.
in my face, so I know it. I had to confront it, and then I'm like, all right, just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They don't respond. And then they do respond, and then I was like, holy crap, somebody responded. Now what am I going to say to them? And then you told me what to say. So no, I'll tell you how Tuesday goes, because that one's at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So
Wow.
Good.
That's awesome.
I really, really appreciate you sharing kind of the backstory, like the behind the curtain part of that for people who are maybe a little nervous starting their MMAs or haven't fully gotten into the groove of it yet. I hope that's helpful for all of you, because it's really inspiring in my opinion.
yeah, and one thing I want to say, because I'm almost at the end, is that it's taken me this long to overcome the fear and to process everything, because it is a lot to learn, and it's a mindset shift in 1,000 ways. And I was beating myself up about that, but I think, okay, that's okay. It took me 12 weeks, but now I know what I'm doing, so I can just soar from here, and that's okay. If you can start earlier because you have less fear than me, great. But if you can't, then as long as you start before you're done, so that you can actually get that this is going to work, then it's going to make everything feel so much more worth it. So
Wow. Way to go, Michelle.
Yeah.
I'm almost
Thank you.
crying. I almost have tears.
Almost, because mostly we're just celebrating for you. Anyone else want to
thank you.
share? Yeah, Amy, thank you.
Okay, so I finally, so last year, at the end of the year, I spoke to the Transformational Leadership Council, Jack Canfield's big group of like 120 of like the top leadership speakers in the world. And they have these mastermind groups, and it was fantastic. And so I finally went on LinkedIn this week and started connecting with a lot of the people on the board and a lot of those people, and they're connecting with me and they're responding. They're like, oh my God, it was so great. So now I'm like, okay, you're getting my speaker one sheet next. And I'm going to just straight up ask them, can I come speak at your mastermind group? And that so it's such low hanging fruit, and I'm just like making it happen this week. So.
Oh, hello. Way to go, Amy. That's huge.
Thank you.
Both what you're doing now and what you already were able to do. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So for your sake, make sure you're tracking those numbers, right? Those numbers are really important. Yeah. Cool. That's a nice big chunk. So you don't have to go do all, I know Sean's helping with a lot of the other outreach too. So, so for you, that's a focus. Get those done. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Patricia, was it you who had your hand up? I saw a hand. Oh, you're just on mute.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I just got an email from Dr. Rediger, the one who wrote the book. They're interested in interviewing me on the Dr. Oz show, and they're taping next Wednesday.
Damn. Hello. Other than that, what are you working on?
That's fun. Cool. But seriously though, MMAs, so that's a cool opportunity. What other MMAs are you working on in your business?
Ooh, way to go. Boom.
Good work, Steph. I just got so excited about that, responding yes, that I would show up for the interview. The other things I'm working on is the speak that I'm doing in February in Burbank, and I'm working on that speech, and I've reached out to the veterans and to one university about suicide.
Perfect. Okay. So some of that's obviously not MMA, like the prepping for the video summit, but that's super important. And then the reaching out to the two places, those are absolutely MMA. So definitely more of those. Volume is important. So the more you can do, the better. Awesome work. Awesome work. And let us know how it goes otherwise. It's exciting. Yes, Lisa.
That'll probably be on Thursday because they're taping on Wednesday. So it'll be a week.
Oh, cool. That's fast. Amazing.
Send us a clip. So
the clip won't come out until it actually airs.
Beautiful. So. All right, Lisa, what's your MMA?
So as part of buying David's book, so now I have 2 copies, so I've got one to give someone. There was a freebie set of things, and one of them was listing of associations for different organizations. And I've been trying to target credit unions organizations for a while because the banking industry actually has a mandate to do this kind of planning. So I've got a new contact now that I am going to try to use that information along with LinkedIn searching to get to some key people to send some queries to for air conversations. So that I'm trying to get into that niche a little bit, and this is going to be very helpful.
Michael, were you going to add something? Sorry. No? Okay.
It was
Perfect.
just me coughing.
Okay. So Lisa, it sounds like you have a list, you have the words that you're sending them, and it's just a matter of ticking through the list then.
Well, I've got a list, but then I've got to go into LinkedIn and find the names of people associated with the organization, and then do that. Yeah.
Okay, so some research there too, but you're working off a list and sticking to your 5+ a day.
I'm trying.
Good. All right, everyone, let's wrap up for now. You guys still have a day and a half left in the work week. Make the most of it, and we will see you on Tuesday. And I think we told a couple of you to post some stuff in the Facebook group, so we'll see you there in the meantime. Awesome call. Bye.
Hi, everybody.